What is going on, Cosmic Crew? Thanks for stopping by the channel. Today, we have a ton of news to go over today when it comes to the future of Netflix buying Warner Brothers and the future and current state of the new DCU under James Gunn. Now, depending on how you feel about James Gunn and the new DCU and Zack Snyder and the old DCEU, this news is going to come as great news or really, really bad news. And at the same time, Hollywood, the industry as a whole, is very concerned about this purchase. Many people have been speaking up about it. We'll go over that today. And at the same time, it looks like Paramount, who was very aggressively bidding for Warner Brothers, they really wanted / still want Warner Brothers. It seems like they might not be completely out of this yet, as they're kind of going to do kind of like a last-ditch effort plan to see if they can still possibly get Warner Brothers. Like I said, a lot to break down today. Now, the first thing we'll go over is the current state of DCU and Warner Brothers. We got a report today that states David Zaslav is set to stay as the head of the new Warner Brothers Studios, which will be kept operating separate from Netflix to make and distribute movies and TV shows. And we do have some information about how Netflix plans to handle theatrical releases, which we'll go over in this video as well. So David Zaslav, it reportedly, is set to stay the head. Now, according to John Campea, he just stated that Warner Brothers will keep James Gunn on. He will stay on as the co-CEO of DC Studios post Netflix acquisition. So I would not be surprised at all. In fact, I expect that James Gunn, of course, was anticipating everything. Warner Brothers Discovery was obviously telling James Gunn what was happening, and James Gunn, of course, heard about it. So they were in talks with Netflix. I'm sure they've had discussions. I'm sure James Gunn has talked with Netflix. I'm sure Netflix has pretty much figured out what they want to do. And according to John Campea, he has talked to some sources and he has heard that even though Netflix is buying Warner Brothers, they're going to keep James Gunn on. So two big things there. James Gunn, if this report is true from John Campea, will stay on as the co-head of DC Studios, which means the DCU, the new one, should basically go on like nothing has ever happened. Like the sale didn't even really matter. Now, it could affect it in the future. It could. But as far as the beginning is concerned, it looks like they're going to let James Gunn do his thing. Now, again, moving forward, and this could have happened at Warner Brothers Discovery as well, if the DCU just tanks all of a sudden, of course they're going to reassess because they're companies that want to make money. But the good news is James Gunn's plan, what he had planned on, basically the slate that he'd already told us, everything with Supergirl, Clayface, Batman, the Brave and the Bold, all of that still seems to be the plan for DC Studios, even if it is under Netflix. So that is really good. Also, we have some news about Netflix's plan for theaters. They did say that Netflix will launch every Warner Brothers movie currently planned for theaters as intended, but they do expect shorter windows before streaming in the future to meet the audience where they are, quicker. So basically, Netflix does still have plans to do theatrical releases, but the window between being released in theaters and released in streaming is going to be a shorter window. So instead of waiting a month, because some have released pretty quickly, or 2 months, or maybe 3 months from going to the theaters to streaming, it's going to be pretty quick, and they might overlap. We don't know their exact plan, but if they release a movie and it's out for a month in the theaters, well, perhaps they might wait 2 weeks before it goes on to streaming. So that's the biggest thing. And I know that could be really great news for some people. Some people, if it's not something really big, and I've seen a lot of comments over the past day and a half because of this. I've seen a lot of comments of people stating they actually only go to the theaters if it's something really big. Like if it's like a big Disney property or a big Warner Brothers property, you know, like if it's a movie like Dune or if it's a movie like an Avengers film. I've seen a lot of people say like the romantic comedies, the regular comedies, some action thrillers, they just wait till it comes on streaming anyways. So this won't really affect them too much. But Netflix is still planning to do the theatrical releases, which is good for those people like myself who do like to go to the movies to see movies that seem interesting to them. Because I'll go see like F1. I thought F1 was a fantastic movie, and I'm so glad I saw it in the theater. Same thing with like Top Gun Maverick. the movie is great at home, but in the theaters, it's just such a different experience. So I'm glad they're still going to do the theatrical releases. And I think actually them going to streaming sooner could benefit the movies. It is going to hurt theaters, though. It is going to hurt movie theaters, and that industry has been pretty impacted basically since the pandemic. So who knows what this is really going to do, but people are concerned. One of those persons who is concerned is Christopher Nolan, legendary director. As the head of the Directors Guild of America, Christopher Nolan plans to meet with Netflix to discuss some very serious concerns with them buying Warner Brothers. It's believed that he wants to meet with them because he wants to talk about the future of theatrical releases at Warner Brothers, which, again, makes sense. A lot of people are concerned about this. Another person who is concerned about this is Sean Astin, the SAG-AFTRA president. He released a statement. SAG-AFTRA released a statement, and yeah, it's basically, hey, yeah, this is good for companies, but how does it affect the industry? That's what a lot of people are concerned about right now, and it is a very big change. It's an $82 million deal. You know, what the giant streaming service that Netflix is acquiring Warner Brothers and another streaming service. It's pretty big, and again, DC Studios. The fate of DC Studios really is going to come down to what Netflix thinks is the best way moving forward, which, again, like I mentioned, it sounds like they have decided James Gunn is the best route moving forward. Sorry to the Snyderverse fans. I totally get it, right? No judgment here. I totally get it. And I loved a lot of what Zack Snyder did, but the future seems to be James Gunn. The plan seems to be the same. So sorry about that. Like I said, you're either going to love the news, you're going to hate the news, or if you kind of didn't like either direction that those directors took both sides of the DC properties, then maybe it's just kind of blah for you, but forward and onward. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that it's been reported that Warner Brothers shareholders might reverse the decision to sell Netflix and give Paramount the studio. According to reports from Business Insider Charles Gasparino, who is a Fox correspondent, Paramount is looking at launching a hostile takeover bid to acquire Warner Brothers because they feel their $30 a share all cash offer was higher than the Netflix offer. Netflix offered $30 a share, but not all cash, according to reports. If this is true, then Warner Bros. Didn't act with their shareholders' best interests at heart, as they will be making less money from the sale. Which means a hostile takeover bid, the shareholders, if they like, could potentially reverse the Netflix decision to sell to Paramount. So it's very interesting. So they're going to appeal directly to the shareholders. It really does seem like Warner Brothers just really wanted to sell to Netflix for whatever reason that may be, but we do know that Paramount, the Ellisons, they really did want Warner Brothers Discovery. So this doesn't come as that big of a surprise to me. Appealing directly to the shareholders, stating that they would get more money from Paramount makes sense. It is a logical approach, but since they have denied Paramount 3 times already and went with Netflix, it doesn't seem like they're going to change their minds. It could happen, but it's a very small possibility. Now, at the same time, Monopoly expert Matt Stoller basically says that this deal seems to be crazy and illegal. And we'll have to see if the FTC will even allow this to happen, which has been a big concern from the very start. This might make Netflix too big. They might own too much of the market, but we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. And there's been a lot of questioning around this, like Netflix wanting to buy Warner Brothers Paramount. Will it even be allowed to happen by the FTC? Well, Disney got Fox. They had to sell some stuff to do it, so perhaps that's what's going to happen here. But as of now, the good news is, what we know is that Netflix has won the bid, and apparently, according to John Campea and other reports, David Zaslav is going to stay in charge, and so is James Gunn in charge of DC Studios, which I guess means Peter Safran as well. So that's good news, again, depending on your views for the new DCU and James Gunn. But it looks like if you like the direction that DC was going, it's going to stay the same. So I was excited to see the future, and I still am. I'm glad it's not going to change. We'll see what happens. I hope this means great things for the future of the DCU. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you like this? Do you like that James Gunn is staying on? Or do you not? Let us know. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on the whole Netflix Warner Brothers situation and, of course, DC news. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.